Okay, we should be pretty good about graphing these two type of lines now. But before we do, let's take a look. It says, what type of line is x equals 4? Remember, it has an x-intercept, no y-intercept, so it has to be vertical. And then y equals 4 is going to be horizontal. Remember, vertical is up and down, horizontal is left and right. So x equals 4, I'm going to go ahead and do it in green. I'm going to go over to 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to make my line, make it straight with 2 arrowheads. It's a nice vertical line. And then go ahead and label it x equals 4. Then let's go to y equals 3. We're going to go to our y-axis 1, 2, 3. And make a nice straight horizontal line at y equals 3. And there you have y equals 3. So what can we say about horizontal and vertical lines? Well, don't they look pretty perpendicular? They are perpendicular. Let's go to these ones. Now we have to identify perpendicular lines. Remember, you have to write it as y equals mx plus b. So let's analyze this. Y equals -4. Remember, that's a horizontal line. B, I need to distribute my 5 to get y minus 6 equals 5x plus 4. So add your 6, add your 6. You get y equals 5x plus 10. So here m equals 5. C, this is a vertical line. And D, we know that m equals -1/5. So if I take a look, I know that my vertical and horizontal lines, that y equals 4, -4, is perpendicular to x equals 3. Then I look, positive 5, -1/5, they're opposite reciprocals. So I could say that y minus 6 equals 5 times the quantity x plus 4 is perpendicular to y equals -1/5 x plus 2. And the last one. This one's already in slope-intercept form, so we know m equals 3. All you have to do is just add 3 here to get y equals -3x plus 3. So I know that the slope here is -3. Divide both the left and the right-hand side. Remember, this is like a little -1 in front of my x. So I get y equals -1/3. Just right there's your 1/3. X plus 1. Now, 3 and -3, they're opposites, but they're not reciprocals. Positive 3 and m equals -1/3. They're opposite and reciprocals. So for this one, I would say that y equals 3x minus 3 is perpendicular to 3y equals -x plus 3. Again, writing our original equations out. Now we're going to take it one more step. It says write an equation to a line. An equation, I want you to write it in y equals mx plus b. That is parallel. Aha! Same slope to the given line and passes through the given point. The only thing that you care about from this line right here is the slope. So the slope of this line equals -1. I'm going to erase it now. I don't care about anything else but that slope. So I have a slope of -1 and a point of 2, 3. Oh, we know how to do this. Now we have an m, an x, and a y. Remember, if you have y equals mx plus b, I can substitute y in, m in, and x, and solve for b. So I would say that 3 equals -1 times my x is 2 plus b. I'm looking for b. -1 times 2 is 3 equals -2 plus b. Add your 2, add your 2. 5 equals b. Your final step, you have to write your final equation, putting numbers in for m and for b, because remember, you always have to have an input, you always have to have an output. So you have y equals -1 x plus 5. An even better way to write it would be y equals -x plus 5. If you wanted to, you could go ahead and graph these two lines and see that they are parallel and not the same line. So you could graph your 1, 2, 3, down one, right one, down one, right one, up one, left one, up one, left one. And this line right here was y equals negative x plus 3. And then this one was positive 5. So you could have gone up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down one right one, up one left one. And you can clearly see that they are parallel. Y equals negative x plus 5. So you can always check by graphing. Check by graphing, check by graphing. Your answer there is that equation. Let's try this one. The only thing you care about is the slope. Y equals mx plus b. Your slope is 3. Get out of there. I don't want you to distract me anymore. And I'm using my point, my x, y. So when you plug in y equals mx plus b, your y is 10, your m is 3, your x is 4 plus b. So you get 10 equals 12 plus b. Subtract 12, subtract 12, negative 2 equals b. So then you plug it in for your final answer to get y equals 3x minus 2. And you could graph those to check them. This time you're going to write an equation, again, y equals mx plus b. That is perpendicular, so opposite, reciprocal to the given line and through the given point. So let's look at this one. The slope of this line is 2. The slope that I want to use, or the perpendicular slope, opposite, positive, negative, 1/2. I do not want to look at this anymore because I got all the information I needed. So I have my slope of negative 1/2 going through 2 comma negative 1. So again, y equals mx plus b. So you have x, y, and an m. We need to solve for b. Negative 1 equals m, which is negative 1/2, x, which is 2, plus b. So you get negative 1 equals negative 1 plus b. Add 1, 0 equals b. For a final equation using your slope, your y-intercept, to get y equals negative 1/2 x. Instead of writing plus 0, just leave it as is. And again, you can check it by graphing. The fourth one, I want you to try on your own. Hit pause, and then I'm going to put the answer up here for you. Okay, you should have gotten that your perpendicular slope was negative 1/4. Plugged it in to get negative 3 equals negative 1/4 times 4 xy plus b. Didn't care about that anymore. So you should have gotten negative 3 equals negative 1 plus b. Added 1, negative 2 equals b. To get y equals negative 1/4 x minus 2 for a final answer. The last thing you're going to do is use some geometry. It says show that it's a parallelogram. So you need to show two sides are parallel by the slopes. So let's look at the first side, AD. AD is a vertical line, so AD, I'm just going to make a list that says slopes. AD equals undefined. Let's just go around the block. AB, let's count it. Up 1, 2, to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2 and 5. So AB equaled positive 2/5. Now let's go down. BC equaled, another vertical line, undefined. And last but not least, DC, you went up 2 to the right 5, so you have 2/5. So you could say that AD is parallel to DC, and, AD is not parallel to DC. AD is parallel to BC, and AB is parallel to DC. So ABCD is a parallelogram. You cannot say it's a parallelogram unless you show your slopes. You have to show all of this part. The last thing shows it's a right triangle. So you need one right angle, which comes from two perpendicular lines. Again, let's find the slopes. So let's start with PQ. Up 1, 2, to the right, 1, 2, 3. So PQ equal 2/3. Let's do QX. QX is negative, so down 1, 2, 3, to the right 1, 2. So it was -3/2. Ooh, I think I see something. And then PX is positive, or I'm sorry, it's a negative again, so down 1 to the right 5. So you have -1/5. So look at their opposite and reciprocal. So because PQ is perpendicular to QX, PQX is a right triangle. So the biggest things to put it all together is parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines are opposite and reciprocal.